Well, it's finally happened. We've got a Brexit deal, but as of this moment I'm doing this, it's just gone 12 o'clock. Um, we have absolutely no idea what is in the deal, but there are Brexiteers all up and down Twitter proclaiming, saying, haha, the Remainers said we were never going to get a deal. No, we were always going to get a deal. The problem was whether our very Brexit supporting government and the cabinet that Boris Johnson had built would actually accept a deal. And there has been a lot of flying about, especially the Guido Fawkes blog has come out and said that, again, I must stress, at that point at which they wrote it this morning, no one has seen the details of the deal, so until that deal is out, no one actually knows what that deal contains. However, there are certain industries and certain other things and certain, shall we say, very big businesses and insiders that would certainly get, shall we say, very worrying, unprecedented access to this deal. And this is why I'm quoting this with full confidence, because this, I think, will really just sum up what we've got. And we'll sum it up after we go over the quote. But this came from Reuters, and this comes over essentially JP Morgan Investment Bank going over the deal as they see it. So, this is what they say. So, it will take us some time to confirm the above. Once the text of the agreement is published, the good news is that the disruptive and acrimonious no deal has been avoided. The bad news for the UK, in our view, is that the EU appears to have secured a deal which allows it to retain nearly all the advantages it derives from its trading relationship with the UK, while giving it the ability to use regulatory structures to cherry pick among the sectors where the UK had previously enjoyed advantages in the trading relationship. That applies to services sector in particular, but to parts of the goods sector too. So essentially, the analysis from JP Morgan right there, to sum it up, is that the EU have got an absolute corker of a deal while keeping all their benefits, but we retain nothing from our previous member status. And like I say, that's JP Morgan. But we won't know until the full details come out. I don't know if I will go live. I don't know if I'll do another video. But if not, presume that this will be my last not my last video, not until the new year, but until after Christmas at some point, when we will start releasing again. Like I say, keep on the watch out for them. But it won't be till after a couple of days after. Maybe next week at some point. I don't know. Keep your eyes open. But in the meantime, hooray, we do have a deal, and we've avoided the disaster pit of a no deal. Now we have a deal, we can actually start to scrutinise what's going on. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will indeed come with its own unique problems. But for the time being, we turn to the new European. But before we do that, please do remember to hit that like and share button. And of course, do remember that there is down below a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link called Buy Me Coffee, where you can buy me a very Christmassy coffee. So, let's get into this. And I think this comes from Ian Dunt in the New European. And I think this really does, because I've said this before, we've got to beware of, as Remainers taking revenge and looking down on the Brexiteers, because they were tricked. We are going to see today lots of very obvious claims of victory, which are going to be very self-serving and highly dubious at best. But we've got to not give in to temptation not to gloat. And I think this is important for us because we are going to have to fight a lot, and I mean a lot of battles going forward, just to try and preserve some of the rights that we in the UK have taken for granted for so long because of our European membership. So, let's jump into this then. So, this comes from the New European. As I said, the title is Remainers Should Not Give In to Temptation to Gloat. So, the trap is right there, waiting for us. Next month, Brexit goes from theoretical issue to practical reality. It will play out in declining GDP growth, investment productivity and trade, but the most immediate impact will be on the border, where the full armoury of bureaucratic checks will be imposed on British exports, and at best it will be a shambles, at worst a catastrophe. And we know how Boris Johnson will respond. He will play on the people's patriotic sentiment. We'll be told that this is a plucky country, a daring and proud little island with the gumption to tear off the shackles of its continental overlords. And that is where the trap will come yawning at us right in front of us. And the trap is a simple yet devastating one. It's that Remainers wallow in the damage to the UK, and that those who believe in Europe look like they are celebrating a moment of crisis for Britain. There is still a stubborn minority of Remainers who are genuinely giddy of this. You sometimes see them online actively wishing for people to lose their jobs, especially in the manufacturing areas that voted leave, as kind of sort of a karmic revenge for the Brexit vote. It goes without saying that this is foolhardy and a completely counterproductive strategy. And I've said this before. Look, Brexit will unfortunately probably lead to job losses, but I will not be happy at that news, because it will be people losing their jobs, and that's not something that we should be celebrating. And you know, it is not a moment to gloat. It will be moments for, we told you this would happen, but you just didn't listen to us. Now it's time to extend that hand to them and go, look, Europe was never the problem. It was the government that was the problem for ignoring you and your woes for so long. That is the time that we need to pick them up, because if we ignore them, then Nigel Farage and his new party are going to pick them up. And like I say, sometimes in the battles to come, it is far better to be pragmatic and think about the consequences of this. And as it said there are going to be some real world consequences for this. And it will mean job losses for a lot of these areas that did vote for leave. And it will not be good. And we should be something that we should not gloat about. Regardless of how much your feelings, how much further, don't gloat. So anyway, it continues. But even those of us who avoid this error often have a problem in the way we come across. We can become so obsessed with pointing out the downsides of Brexit that it looks as if we're just predicting damage to the country, but hoping for it. And if we're honest, it's a weird situation to be in. We have predicted the economic pain from leaving the EU. That, if it did not transpire, if Britain performed better out on its own, that we would be proved wrong. So we've been placed in a position where the thing that would confirm our worldview is the thing that we least want to see. It's so easy to go from pointing this out to being triangled into wanting to see your country see your own country damaged. Ultimately, it is a question of priorities. What matters more? Being right or the fate of Britain? And there's only one respectable answer to that. Wherever there is a contrast between ideology and people's lives are more important. In short, it would be good to be wrong, but now more. It wouldn't be good, but now more than ever. And unfortunately, that is not going to happen. We're condemned to be right. Countries far apart from each other trade far less than the ones closer together. Putting up obstacles reduces flow. These are empirical observations which have been verified over and over again. If they're wrong, then nothing is certain. But there's something to be said for hoping that we're wrong. It highlights what's most important to us. It stops us coming over like we're hoping Britain will fail. Instead, we're hoping it succeeds, with the grim awareness that the government is preventing that from happening. It frames the pro-EU movement as a patriotic force, and it evades the trap. Next year will be crucial. Support for Brexit is falling through the floor. Public approval for the government's handling of Brexit is now minuscule, and we have now a chance to seize the narrative, to start to build the movement for rejoining. But we can't do that if we play right into the part they want us to play, an out-of-touch elite smirking as working-class people lose their jobs. Avoiding that outcome does not require any great change from Remainers. It requires a caution of all the proudest attributes this movement possesses. At its heart, Remain was always a patriotic argument. It was an idea of what was best for Britain. One of the chief distinctions of our patriotism is that it welcomes diversity and cooperation with other countries. It is a love for a country which emerges not from jingoism, but from the fact that this is our home and we want the best for it. It comes not from competition with others, but from a vision of how we can all advance together. It is the patriotism of bridges, not walls. This kind of patriotism does not mean we should just shut up when the government damages the country. It simply means that we direct our anger at the government, not the country. It is about attacking those who lied to Leave voters, not Leave voters themselves. This is what I always make the distinction. I'm very, very clear, and sometimes people don't get it. We must make the distinction between the Brexiteers. This is Boris Johnson, Michael Gove, Nigel Farage. Those are the Brexiteers versus the Brexit supporters. Those are the average people who voted for Brexit. I always make that distinction. So anyway, it continues. So it is not. It's not about mourning what they have done to Britain and committing to repeating it. It's about denying Brexit's political leaders the monopoly on patriotism they so clearly hanker for. The only way we will take back control is by basing our arguments on a love of country and a desire for something better for it. If we don't, Johnson's government will have us exactly where they want us. And that is completely 100% true. And I would go so far, as today, we have to be moving forward on that patriotism of bridges. I love that. I'm going to start using that more often. I love that. We've got to start building patriotic bridges. We are the ones who are all about cooperation, diversity, and working together for greater aims, not just for our country, but for other countries as a whole. When one country prospers, other countries tend to prosper as well. And this is something that we can build for an argument to be back in the EU for. We need to rebuild that bridge to Europe. Like it or not, this is how we progress. This is how we go forward. So I would say to every Remainer out there today, like you, fantastic, we got a deal. It's not the no deal Brexit. We're not going to go over that cliff edge, we've avoided it. What is in the deal? We don't know. Given what we've read from JP Morgan, it's very likely it is not going to be in any way favourable to Britain. That is why I highly suspect there is a massive block at the moment in trying to Boris Johnson going live and telling us about this deal, but Johnson will do his whole patriotic spiel, and of course, this is what you should do. Do not blame Brexit supporters. You blame the government. They are the ones who put us in this mess. Blame the Brexiteers, blame them, and then, unfortunately, when all our predictions do start to come true, and oh boy, they will start to come true, because as we pointed out there, some of these things are just empirical observational facts. Countries who are closer together trade more than the ones who are further apart. And we are about to learn that the hard way. And next year is going to be a fight. I make no qualms about that at all. We are probably going to get austerity on steroids. But, have some hope. We've got a deal which is going to, avoid the worst case scenario. And now we have to start building that patriotic bridge that gets us back to Europe. And I fully believe we can do that. So with that message of hope going forward, because remember, you always get more stuff done with hope than negativity, let's go on forward. Let's go do this. Let's start building those bridges. Let's start building that bridge back to Europe, because I fully believe we can do it. So with that, thanks for watching. As always, please do remember to hit that like and share button. And of course, down below, there's a link to my Patreon page and a one-off donation link where you can buy me a coffee. And have a very wonderful and happy Christmas. Enjoy it to your fullest. And I will see you some point after Christmas. I don't know when, but I will just start making videos. Probably, maybe after Boxing Day. We'll see. But like I say, I intend to enjoy myself tomorrow. I've got a very nice bottle of rum I bought myself for Christmas, so I am going to enjoy that myself tomorrow. So have a very happy, wonderful Christmas, and to all my Remainer friends that are out there watching this, don't give up, don't give in to gloating, be hopeful. We can build that bridge back to Europe. We can, and we will do it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you all very soon.